Hey everybody, welcome back to another chapter of the book of Sean. It's absolutely good to see you. I'm excited about today's show. I got an amazing guest. My dear brother Benjamin Carlton is here. He's a good dude, man, I'm telling you. And let me just tell you to all the sisters who are watching, love is hard to find no matter who you are, okay? And I keep telling people it's easy to find somebody who'll sleep with you. It's easy to find somebody who thinks you're cute. That ain't hard to do, especially if you're cute. The hard part is finding the right person, somebody who you won't mind waking up next to every morning, all right? And so my brother is here because it's been a journey. You guys know I love talking about love, and he loves talking about love too. So the two of us together, it's going to be quite an experience, okay, people? Put your seatbelts on. We're going to have a good time tonight, all right? Benjamin's here. We're going to talk about love, his journey, what he's been through. I'm going to give him some advice, although he's a minister, so he's got some wisdom in him too. But I'm still going to give him some advice, okay? Because it's one thing to be the patient, it's another thing to be the doctor. So today he's going to get to be the patient. I'm going to be the doctor, as it were. But I'm excited to talk to him. You're going to love him. And we got some great Ask Dr. Sean questions, and we got some great headlines to do. So let's get to work. Let's do some headlines right now. So apparently on Friday, Russia moved to ban Instagram in Russia. Apparently Instagram is very popular in the Soviet Union or Russia, whichever one is properly called. 60 million users apparently, the people that use Instagram in Russia, as it were. And it's interesting because now they're banning Instagram. But remember in 2016 and 2020, Russia they loved Instagram, they loved Facebook, and they loved Twitter. Remember that? In 2016 and 2020, when they were messing up our elections with all the Russian bots and fake Russian Instagram and Facebook pages. And now all of a sudden they don't like Instagram. And they don't like Instagram because people are using Instagram to protest against the war. People in Russia are using social media to voice and give assent and give claim to the fact that they believe that peace is a better proposition and a better way for humanity to interrelate to each other. And all of a sudden, 2022, Russia's decided that Instagram is a horrible thing and it needs to be banned. Because, y'all ready for this? People often love something as long as the thing that they're claiming to love provides benefits for them. People love things as long as what they love is in line with their agenda. And the minute something stops being in line with their agenda, they seem no longer to love it. So Russia loved Instagram as long as Instagram was helping to undermine the American elections. But now that Instagram is being used to undermine their illegal war, oh, they hate Instagram now. You see, that's how it works. It doesn't just work with social media, it also works with people. Let me just say before we move on to people, that social media is pretty terrible, okay? I know some of y'all disagree and I don't care, but it's pretty terrible. Twitter is a cesspool. So is Instagram, and so is Facebook, and TikTok is the stupidest thing that's ever been created ever. And I know because I sit there and watch it and think to myself, why am I wasting 15 minutes of my time? And my man Devon tried to get me to like TikTok. He's doing this book talk and black talk. No, Devon, it's all stupid. It's all pretty stupid. But I'm all for people having a good time and having fun. If you got some time that you want to waste, have at it. My point is this. Russia loved social media as long as social media was in line with its interests. So let's bring it back to people. Because people love people as long as the people they're loving are providing services and benefits for them. And the moment somebody stops being what somebody starts being what you want them to be, then you'll be surprised at how many people will stop loving you, stop calling you, stop being around you, because it was never you that they loved. It was only what you did for them that made their big toe shoot up in their boot. It's amazing. It's amazing, beloved, because when it's all said and done, everybody's love ain't love. My mama used to say that. Everybody's love ain't love. And everybody claiming to love you don't love you. And you got to know the difference. If you want to know if somebody loves you, stop providing the benefits that you provide for them and see how long they stick around. Huh? Because most attempts at love are not existential, they are situational. And there's a difference. Situational love is transactional. I wouldn't even call it love, but for the purpose of this conversation, I will. It's transactional. You do this, I do that. Quid pro quo, this for that. You give me this, I give you that. You make me feel good, I make you feel validated. That's situational. Existential love is way deeper than that. It is, I don't love what you do. I love who you are. I am not just enamored by the things that you bring. I am enamored by your presence. I like to be around your energy. If you never gave me another thing, just being around you is the thing that blesses me. Well, apparently, Russia doesn't feel that way about Instagram. Anyway, let's move on. I don't know if you guys have heard about the suspect that was going around in Washington, D.C. and in New York City, murdering and attacking homeless people. Recently, authorities have arrested a man who is believed to be connected with multiple attacks on homeless people in the streets of D.C. and New York City. Apparently the man, whoever this man may be, either the one that they arrested or the one that they are still looking for, apparently he killed 2 people and injured 3 others. He shot and stabbed people. And whoever this person is, he was attacking homeless people. Okay? Homeless people. Homeless people have nothing but the clothes on their back. They literally have no place to sleep, no way to lay their heads. And whoever this person is, whether it's the man that they've arrested and are talking to or some other person, this person was attacking homeless people. You follow what I'm saying? Now, when I say that, you shouldn't be calm when I say that, okay? Because you're looking a little too calm for me. Let's try it again. This man, whoever it was attacking homeless people. He has killed 2 people, shot people, and stabbed people, homeless people, who only have the clothes on their back and they don't have a place to lay their head. And he was attacking homeless people. And when I say that, your anger ought to rise up just a little bit, okay? That ought to annoy you just a little bit. Because if you want to see the other side of Dr. Sean Henderson McMillan, attack some vulnerable and defenseless people around me, okay? I'm a nice guy, I'm a loving guy, but I do not play people attacking people who are vulnerable and defenseless and can't stand up for themselves. If you want my Gandhi and my Dr. King to leave the building, let me watch you hurt somebody who is vulnerable and defenseless. And we're going to have a whole nother kind of conversation. In fact, it ain't going to be no damn conversation. I cannot stand people. I cannot stomach people who will attack and hurt people who can't defend themselves. Homeless people cannot defend themselves. They are sleeping on the street, and then you want to come and shoot and kill them. You hear me? It's amazing to me. Listen, when 2 elephants fight, I mind my business, because that's an equal fight. But when a lion attacks a puppy, I'm standing up for the puppy. You follow what I'm saying? I'm all for lions. I'm all for elephants rather attacking each other. That's not my. But when a lion attacks a puppy, I'm standing up for the puppy and the hell with the lion. That's what we have in this story, man. Here's my point. We have a moral obligation to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. We have a moral obligation to defend people. I don't give a damn if you agree with them or not. It ain't about agreeing with somebody. It's about whether or not you understand that you have a moral obligation to acknowledge and to do what's right in the presence of brutalizers and brutes and bullies. Don't let people be taken advantage of in your life. These are people that you care about. These are people that you want in your space. And if you know that somebody is taking advantage of them, cheating on them, stabbing them in the back, plotting against them, and you don't say something, Steve-O, come over here and help me. Listen, I have no tolerance for that. You follow what I'm saying? You are not going to be in my life, and I care about you, and I know that people are doing things to you behind your back, and I'm not going to say something. I'm going to tell you what's up. I don't care nothing about no snitching rule. I don't care about none of that. The rule for me is right and wrong is wrong. And I know what's right, and I have a sense of what's wrong. You don't need a PhD in moral philosophy to know that nobody should be killing or attacking homeless people who are sleeping on the street. He didn't even attack them when they were awake. They sleeping on the street trying to just get from one day to the next, living on the razor's edge, and he's killing homeless people. And I know some of y'all don't believe in prison anymore, but the devil is a lie. I got a preacher on. He can relate to that. The devil is a lie. I'm sorry. No. You attack a homeless person, you need to be in prison. I'm sorry. You need to be in prison. The same rule that applies to my mama applies to homeless people. You attack my mama, I want you underneath a jail. You attack a defenseless homeless person, that's where you ought to be. Listen, man. Don't let people take advantage of people that you care about and you say nothing. Open your mouth and stand up for what is right and what you know to be just. Don't let the wolf have his way. You hear what I'm saying? If you let the wolf have his way, he'll devour everything. But at some point, you got to draw a line and you got to say, not my friend, not my children, not my husband, not my wife, not my significant other, and definitely not me. So I'm going to say it because I like saying it because it felt good to me. When the elephants fight, I mind my business. But when a lion attacks a puppy, I'm standing up for the puppy. What you going to do? All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the letter Z. So apparently you guys, everybody's been watching the Ukrainian-Russian war. You know, this is my second Russian story today. You can't get around this story, right? Everybody's talking about it. But I found this out the other day. I think it was over the weekend, maybe, that the letter Z is being used as a pro-Russian symbol. Have you seen this? That right there. So on Russian trucks, it's been painted that the letter Z is a pro-Russian war symbol. And so all over the Ukraine, all over social media, and all over Russia, the letter Z has been employed by the Russians to signal support for this illegal invasion into the Ukrainian country and consciousness for that matter. Okay, and just to be clear, I haven't done a deep dive into what the letter Z means, okay? I'm going to leave it to all of you to Google why they chose Z and what it means. But here's what I do know. There is no Z in the Russian alphabet, okay? There's a Z sound, and the letter for that looks like a 3. There is no Z in the Russian alphabet. So this is clearly some, importation of some connotation that the Russians are sort of propagating across their, media space. But the reason I wanted to bring this to you is because, once again, right-wing conservatives, and that's what Russia is, right-wing conservatives have proven themselves their inability to use words, and that they can only marshal letters. You guys know in this country, right-wing nuts only use what letter? Q, for QAnon. So the Russians use Z, and the American right-wing nuts use Q. And I'm just trying to figure out, what is it about the right-wing nuts in Russia and America that they can't actually, gather words? They can only signal to each other with letters. The word liberty, emancipation, abolition, enlightenment. Oh no, those words are too big. Just give our people one letter, Q, Z. Oh Lord. Y'all pray for me. Pray for me. Pray for me, Benjamin. Pray for me, man. I'm just saying. And I know this sounds elitist. You're like, Dr. Shaw, you're such an elitist. You're an elitist, man. Yeah, I'm an elitist, okay? You're like, oh, you're calling people dumb. Listen, if you expected John F. Kennedy Jr. to come up out the grave and to be Donald Trump's running mate in 2020, you an idiot. And you need somebody to tell you that. First of all, if I came up out the grave, I'm not being nobody's running mate. I want to be the president. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm an elitist. That's what I am. And I worked hard. I put my face down in many a book, in many a library, not to come across as simple. My mama had a 6th grade education. Did you hear me? A 6th grade education. And she scraped and fought and suffered to make sure that I would have the ability to marshal words and command sentences. Yeah, and I'm proud of that. And so when I talk to us, when I talk to you, I don't give you one letter, Z and Q. I give you a whole damn paragraph because I know you can handle it. And for those who can only handle one letter, well, that's why y'all voted for Donald Trump, because that's all he can handle. Let me do this last story because I got a minute. All right, we found out President Obama has COVID, and we're praying for him, and we wish the former president a speedy recovery. It's an amazing thing, and I say this quickly because, 2 years later, we're in 2022. In 2020, if we had heard President Obama had COVID, we'd be praying and fasting right now. We'd be rolling around in sackcloth and calling down every power of every anointing that we could find. You hear me? But 2 years later, we hear that former President Barack Obama has COVID, and we can wish him a speedy recovery because, as he's told us, he just has mild symptoms. And the amazing thing is how far we've come in just 2 years. 2 years is not a long time. You hear me? It's not a long time. But in 2 years, For most people, having COVID now is just about having some mild symptoms because we have vaccines and we have approved medical treatments, not the thing you give to the horses and the cows. It's amazing to me. I know I'm running out of time and I know I got to take this break, but let me just say it again. I stand in awe at how much ground and progress we have made, and I declare unto you, as I look you in your eye and you look me in mine, that progress is very possible if you keep going. Only if you keep going. 2 years ago, if you would have gotten COVID, we would have basically been planning your funeral. And now, basically, we acknowledge the fact that you might have a bad cold because progress happens. Things do get better. We do turn the corner, we do round the mountain, and we get to a better place. And that is my final word to you in this segment. Because there ain't a time for giving up. Ain't time for throwing in the towel. Matter of fact, I hope if you throw the towel in, I hope God catches it and throws it back at you. It's your time to keep going. Because whether you know it or not, it's going to get better. And so are you. Let's take a break. We'll talk to Benjamin right after this. Welcome back, everybody. If you've ever wondered why it might be so hard to find the right person, even though you're young, gifted, and black, well, you don't have to wonder. Because Benjamin's going to help us understand what that feels like. Welcome to the show tonight. Benjamin Carlton, what's up, man?
What's up, good brother? Thank you for having me, doctor.
It's my pleasure to have you on. I'm excited to talk to you. I'm excited about all the things that I know that you stand for and represent. And so it's such a pleasure, really, to have you here. But I'm going to get into the complicated part first, and then we'll get into the things that you may be a little more comfortable with later on, okay? Just trust my heart, trust me on this. All right, so tell me this. What's the hardest part for you in terms of finding the right person?
The hardest part, I believe, is trust. I don't know who's raising people today, but
whoa, that's good. That's good. Keep going, Benjamin. I'm yours already.
It's really hard to get to the depth of people because everybody's walking around trying to be someone they're not and not being their authentic selves. And so you really don't know who you get until you pull back the sheet. But by then you would have invested time, money, paying for dates, all this type of stuff. And so it's just really hard to connect with people. And then with all of the social media, I heard you talk all about Twitter, Instagram, and all of that. You know, the swipe culture it goes beyond just the apps. But if you don't like me, you just swipe me out the way and on to the next person versus giving time and energy and patience into building a solid relationship.
All of that is entirely rich. And I love, it so resonates with me, the issue of who can you trust, right? Who can you trust? I mean, because who are you?
Who are you?
Okay, so tell me this. What has the inauthentic way that relationships are crafted nowadays, what has that done to you? Because I'm sure it has affected you. So tell everybody, I mean, take us there. Take us out the head and take us into the heart. What has it done to you?
It has caused me to build really solid, strong walls where I don't let people in, and I'm afraid to share my heart with people. So I don't even have the capacity to even go down that path of, getting hurt or, finding out somebody's not who they are, because I'm also trying to build my life, build my dreams. And so I don't have time for the games, and everybody's just wanting to play games. And it's like, it's not a game. This is life. And the surface connections and the surface relationships, I'm just over them all. And so that it has hardened my heart and caused me to build some really solid walls. Yeah.
And it's always difficult, right? It's always difficult to try to love, live, lead, be great behind a wall, because we were born to do it out in the open, out in the field, as it were. Talk to me about what it's like to have to build walls you never wanted to have to build.
It is so anti who I am. I am such an open and loving person. I've been that way since I was a kid. And so it causes so much stress second guessing people's intentions, second guessing people's motives. And then, I that was generally my problem. I didn't have it in between. I went from we met, we're good friends, now you have access to everything. And generally I was really good at building those type of relationships. It wasn't until that I started finding that life was much different on this side of the world.
That's interesting. So if I heard you correctly, and maybe you meant this metaphorically, not literally, but I'm going to ask. So was there a time in your life when you went from just sort of getting to know someone to immediately letting someone fully in? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about that time of your life. What was going on with you? Because I know you're sophisticated enough to know that how we behave is often a reflection of how we feel about ourselves and what's going on in our world. What was going on in your world when you were trapped in that paradigm?
I did not fully love myself and all of who I was. And so I was willing to do whatever, not whatever in the sense of doing anything, but was so looking for people to love me, accept me, have me. So I didn't have any in between and letting them into my life completely.
You've said a lot. Listen. We could trade stories, Benjamin. I'm telling you, because I've been there. I think the audience have been there. Like we all had that season, right? Where you just somebody love me, somebody care about me, somebody tell me I'm cute.
Right.
Right. And when you're dealing with yourself or someone else from that position, you accept things, you invite things that you would never do at your strength. Am I right about that?
Yes. I often tell people your desperation will determine your toleration. And so when you're desperate for just anything, you will tolerate just anything. Yeah. When you're desperate for attention, you will tolerate anything that gives you attention. And so I was in a very, very low, desperate space and tolerated a lot.
I just, that touches me because I don't know you. We've never met. We've never had the privilege of being in person. You're on the screen and I'm on the screen to you. But my sense of you is you are brilliant. You are grounded. And I almost feel like the world owes you an apology for ever putting you in a position, you know what I'm saying, where you felt like you needed to just accept anything from anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thank you for that. And I mean, it's all a part of growing and developing and becoming our authentic selves. And sometimes we got to go through the darkness to get to the light. But I'm appreciative of the journey because I can now help others not make the same mistakes.
Yeah, no, yes, absolutely. I just think that there should be a little less darkness for people like you.
Yeah.
So tell me about the right one. Describe the right one, okay? Look at the smile. There he is. Look at the smile. I got her, people. Describe the right one, Benjamin.
The right one is my best friend. The right one loves me for all of me. The right one is someone who supports me and who I can support. And we're growing together in partnership. This is about a life partnership. This is about evolving together. Anybody who stays the same over a long period of time, are you really evolving and growing? So can you evolve with me? Can you grow, explore the world with me? Can you share life with me? Can you go through the ups and the downs? My greatest fear, and I was just talking to a good friend of mine about it, is I wanted to find love before notoriety because I did not know if people would want me for me or want me for what I have. And so now I'm in that space as well. It's like, well, do you want me for love and me, or do you want me? And I often know that if I'm on dates and, he'll start talking about, connections and who I know. And I saw you with Beyonce and I saw you with, and I'm like, date's over.
Yeah,
this is it.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. Well, I shouldn't say it's a terrible thing. it's cumbersome when people can Google you and,
Yeah.
and get all your your attachments and relationships, but you can't Google them and find out nothing about
Oh,
them.
I don't know. I don't know who is sitting across from me. Yeah.
So do you have a type? You have a type?
Yes, I have a type.
Let's hear the type. I want to hear it.
Most of my exes fit this type of just tall, dark, and handsome. Outspoken, great smile, and is spirit driven and mission driven. Not accepting the mundane or the ordinary, but always going after something. That is what excites me. Yes, it's great to plan and be strategic, but I don't want every part of my life planned. And someone that's willing to just get up and say, hey, let's explore this year, let's explore this day, or let's get up and travel the world. That is my type. That excites me.
So is your type a relic of what you used to be, or is your type relevant for who you are now? Just think about that for your answer. No, don't answer yet. Just because I want that to wash over you, all right? Because I know what you do for a living. I know who you are, and I respect that and love that. But I also want you to have an experience tonight, all right? So again, is your type, does it come out of the relic and the ruins of what you used to be? And I don't mean that pejoratively, right? Or is it relevant for who you are now?
I will say that my type has evolved. Okay. Even after, I spent a great part of my life dating undercover. And so that was a type. And even after I came out, I still went after that type. I fully accepted me and all of me and realized that I was going after people and becoming who they would accept. After I stopped doing that, my type evolved into someone who would gladly demonstrate their love for me in public and walk in the fullness of who we both are.
No, I'm glad to hear that. Because so many people I talk to, and their types come out of when they were 15 and 18 and 14 years old, right? And the reality is, if you're 20-something, 30-something years old, and you still have the same type, that could be deeply problematic because you're trying to fulfill a need that you probably have outgrown. And I love to hear that you acknowledge that, you embrace the truth that what you wanted when you were at a certain stage of your life is not what you're willing to accept now. I love that. Listen, I got to take a quick break, okay? When we come back, I want you to do me a favor because I know you can handle this. And I want you to talk about the meantime, right? The loneliness in the meantime, and how that feels. I saw your face. Yeah, listen. We gonna go there. We gonna go there.
It was only an hour, dude.
No, we gonna go there because you're gonna help so many people, and you're gonna listen. But when we come back, we're gonna deal with the hard part of this, right? Because everybody watching, if you don't have somebody, you get lonely. Don't act like we don't. I said we. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Benjamin Carlton. Benjamin, so let's get to it because I promised you, to your own chagrin, that I was gonna ask you this question. Talk to me about the loneliness that you have to deal with in the meantime.
Yeah, the loneliness can be really dark because as a minister, as a person who preaches love and brings light into homes and hearts, to spend a day doing that and then coming home to emptiness, I realized how harmful the darkness and loneliness was when the pandemic happened. I love to travel the world. Traveling across the world is just like crossing the street for me. And when I couldn't do that anymore, I realized it was because I did not like being home. I did not alone. I did not like that empty space. Even with, my dog, who was my best friend at the time. And so that loneliness can lead us to, or led me to do things that were harmful to myself, harmful to others, and didn't allow me to make the best decisions for myself because I allowed the loneliness to consume me. And I kept it private, didn't talk about it to much people because it's almost like embarrassing. How are you, the guy who promotes love and preaches love, feeling this lonely and empty? So I kept a lot of that to myself.
Listen,
Therapy, but I kept it to myself.
You are an activist, you're an author, you're a minister, you are a public intellectual. The reason I didn't lead with any of that when I introduced you is because I wanted people to connect with you, your heart, your journey, not with all your labels and titles, for the exact same reason you just said, right? Because now people know all that you do, but they've encountered your journey, right? And so when people get your title first, they go, how in the world could you be lonely? How in the world could you not find somebody? It's because you're a human being. You're a person. You're like everybody else. And I know loneliness just as much as you know loneliness. Here's my question, though. When you're in that state, and I don't know if you're in that state now, but let's assume for this conversation you are. Do you accept it or do you resent the loneliness?
I resent it. To your point, while you say the world owes me an apology, I have issues with God. You see what I do. You see how I love. You know who I am. Am I not worthy of love? Am I not worthy of a companion? Am I not worthy to experience the joys that so many others experience, or experience the joy that I bring to so many people's lives? Am I not worthy to have that back in my life? So I resent it wholeheartedly. And I know some of it is good and purposeful, and God has a plan, but I'm still human, and I resent it.
And you're a minister, and so people hearing you say that tonight, who may be taken back by that, what do you say to them to hear a minister say, "I'm resenting what God has me going through"?
I'm human first. No man, woman, or non-binary human is superhuman. We all have feelings. We all have a heart. We all have a soul. And I want my heart poured into. I want to be loved on at night. I want somebody to whisper sweet nothings in my ear. I know that's old school, but, I'm human beyond title. And after I take the minister attire off, after I lay the title down, I'm just Ben. And Ben to be loved on and ministered to as well. And so I'm human first.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Because I think that it's so important that people really know that there's a human being behind the pulpit, or behind the collar, or behind the activism, or behind the book, right? Ben, I would just add to that if your God cannot handle a good argument, that's a piss poor God. If you're... Go ahead.
Absolutely. We are taught not to question God. We are taught not to confront God. But there's stories of people who wrestled with God until God answered. And that's what happened to me in my life. I got tired of doing ministry and God not speaking to me, because I once in my life dated both men and women. And when I realized that I was hurting people with my actions because I wasn't being fulfilled, I said, well, God, until you answer me about me, I'm not doing any more ministry. I'm not dating anybody. And that got lonely. But it was like, God, if you're able to do all these things, create the earth, heal people, surely you can answer my questions. Surely we can have a conversation. And it wasn't until I was real with God in that regard that the Spirit began to respond in that real way.
Yeah. No, that's a powerful witness. I can only imagine what that conversation was like. When you're telling God, look, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I need to know. I need some answers, and I need them right now. Right now.
Yeah. Because I've given most of my life. I've wiped clean toilets at church. I've served the youth. I've served the elderly. I've done all these things. And what's up? Help me.
I know that a lot of your work and your ministry and your life really is built on love, is built on helping people understand it. So talk to me about love. What can you teach me and tell me about love?
Love is the most powerful tool mechanism that we as humans can exchange with one another, exchange with ourselves, and exchange with our deity. Love is the source, key, and light of all things. If you don't have love, you don't have anything. When they asked, Jesus was the greatest command of all. Jesus said, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. That is the first and the greatest. And then love your neighbor as you love yourself. And you can hang every other law on those two things, love. And when you look at human relationships, religion, when you look at life in general, love is generally the source and the center. But love, as great as love can be, that's how much it also can hurt. Love can lead you into some really great places of light or some great places of darkness. It all depends on what you want to do with love. Love is an action. Love is always waiting for you to act in some type of way. And I believe that every day there's an abundance of love waiting for us, either from spirit or from people. But love is the key and center of all things. If you don't have love for yourself, it's impossible for you to have love for anyone.
No, I received that, and I affirm that. I know in my own life, love literally saved me. It pulled me out of a garbage can. It was the love of a 52-year-old woman who decided to love an abandoned child that saved me. I literally would not be here if she could not conjure that kind of love for someone who was not biologically related to her. So I mean, I affirm everything you're saying, and I agree with it 100%. Listen, can you stick around a little longer? I want to keep you, do another segment. Yeah. Is that all right? So I'm going to keep you because I'm determined not just to work you, because you've given us great insight, but I want to bless. I want to bless you. I want you to receive a blessing tonight because you give so much, and you do so much, and I want you to be able to walk away with something too. So listen. We're going to take a break. Ben's not going anywhere. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little more about this journey, not the journey behind him, but the journey ahead of him as it relates to love and finding someone. He is an author, an activist, a minister, I think a genius, a black man in full. When we come back, more with Ben right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Ben Carlton. Ben, so during the break, I was talking to my sound engineer, Steve, and he said something that I thought was just so interesting. He said, he used an expletive that I won't use. It's bleeped up, to work for God, to love God, and to have to fight with God to get something that other people just seem to be able to get randomly without any effort. And when he said that, I was just like, yes, you, sir, over there, you have put your finger on the whole thing. When I said that, you immediately responded. So what was coming up when I repeated what he said?
Truth. And this is not my individual journey, but so many people who walk this walk of not only faith, but service and commitment to love, to God, to higher callings, often walk a very lonely walk. Mm-hmm. That's one of my first questions when I get to heaven, Lord willing, is, or wherever I'm going next, is what's up with that? Marry people, we do ceremonies, we, counsel, make people happy, heal people, bring people to healing, but where is that for us? Yep, so I agree.
No, listen, I can relate to that 100%. I'm in the early parts of my ministry, I would do weddings and counsel couples and do the wedding and go home and be clinically depressed. I mean, just depressed, lights off, and I remember one time I talked to Jeremiah Wright. I don't know if you know who Jeremiah Wright is.
So he saved my life.
Okay, well, you and I go exchange Jeremiah Wright stories. So I remember I talked to him, and he said something to me that I will never forget. He said, Sean, he said, you're going to have to live with the possibility that some of your questions will never be answered. And your challenge, yes. Don't make me cry. He said some of your questions will never be answered. And you're going to have to live with the possibility of, can you still believe with open questions?
Yeah. Woo. It's a true test of our faith and test of our commitment to the calling, because it's real. And so many people play with it. So many people want the pleasures or the romanticized story about it. but there was nothing romantic about the heavy walk that a Martin Luther King had to walk, that a Malcolm X had to walk, and most times alone, even when his own family didn't support what God was telling them to do. And so, that's wow.
Well, listen, that Jeremiah Wright had to walk, and it turns out that he was absolutely right about how America would respond, and certainly about Donald Trump. You mentioned that he saved your life. Would you mind telling me that story?
Yeah, I did as much. I experienced homophobia from the Black community before I experienced racism from a white community, and so I always had issues with my Blackness, and trying to find acceptance in communities. And I came up in the hood of Philly, but my mom always had me in programs where I would be like the only Black person. So had some real identity issues in a number of ways. And I heard him give a speech in Detroit at the NAACP prayer breakfast, I think it was. And he talked about Black people being different and not deficient.
Not deficient, yes.
And that speech changed my whole mindset. And I became Mr. Black after that. All the things. And so he really helped me love who I am, love my Blackness.
Yeah, I don't want to make this a Jeremiah Wright love fest, but for those of you who don't know him and never met him, you don't know how much of a loving, giving, generous, affirming person he is. Jeremiah Wright affirmed the LGBTQ community long before it became fashionable. Long before any Black pastors would ever take any stand supporting LGBTQ folks, Jeremiah Wright was doing it. So I'll leave that there. But let's get back to you, because you and I could celebrate him half the night. And here's the question I really want to ask you, though. And think about this. Are you ready to love? And are you ready to be loved? And are you ready to make the adjustments and the sacrifices of space and time and attention that it takes to have that happen?
Yes, and yes. Because I am doing and I've done the work of overcoming trauma, triggers, harms, giving people, but most of all, forgiving myself. And I'm now working on building healthy boundaries instead of solid walls, where I have, realize it's not okay to just immediately let someone in your life and give them full access. But you have to, be patient in the process, and know that if it's worth having, it's worth waiting for, it's worth fighting for, worth taking the time to get to know myself first, right? I should have, after, coming out at age 30, should have spent time discovering who that person was, and I didn't. I went right trying to build and love and get in relationships. And so the more and more I fall in love with me, the more and more I know I am ready to give that love to someone else and then receive love from someone.
The more I listen to you, Ben, the more I think to myself, you're actually right on schedule. And like the more I listen to you, like my soul, my spirit is telling me, and with no room for equivocation, you are not off schedule. You are not off track. You are actually right on time. Because had you had gotten the right person when you were not ready to receive them, it would have been a disastrous and deplorable situation. And now that you are more ready, more mature, more fully yourself, more centered, more grounded, more secure, more clear about what the boundaries are. I meet you on Monday, you ain't moving in on Wednesday. That ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I meet you on Wednesday, you ain't getting access to my bank account by Saturday. The devil is a lie. That's more who you are. And so I'm just led to believe that you are probably, I know this is gonna sound preachy, but just go with me, that you're probably on the edge of the greatest moment you ever had in your life. That you are probably I know that's right, you are probably on the edge of getting exactly what you've been waiting for, because as I sense you, you are on schedule. You are on time. You're there. And sometimes it's not that you're not ready, it's also that the person you're waiting for, they're being prepared for the new person that you are. And I'm excited about your future. I gotta take this break. Let me ask you 3 quick questions, all right? Give me short answers to the first one. What's the fear?
Being hurt.
Good. What's the hope?
Love eternal.
And what is the prayer of your soul?
For peace and love that fulfills.
And my prayer for you is that that would be the type that gets sent into your life. Someone who understands that. Tall, dark, and handsome, all of that notwithstanding, right? But that they would be able to be a repository, a conduit of peace and a conduit of love. That they would not add chaos or derision in your life. But they would be someone who facilitates you having the peace that you deserve and the love that you teach about. My prayer for you is going to be that all that you've poured out and given to other people, all that you have sacrificed to allow other people to feel, my prayer for you is that you get to feel what that feels like, that you get rivers of agape, that you give oceans of eros. Yeah, I said oceans of eros, and that you get buckets of philia, that you get to feel what that's like, and that you get to enjoy it. And when it happens, come back and see me.
I will. Maybe sooner than later.
No, I believe that to be the case, my friend. Ben, thank you for coming on, man. I have enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for those words. I received them all, and I'm going to meditate on them.
Now, listen, Ben, how do you not like Ben, okay? You got to like Ben. Ben's going to find somebody really soon, because I'm telling you, he's ready. And I bet you're ready, too. I bet you're ready, too. I bet you're ready, too. When we come back, ask Dr. Sean right after this. Almost got me. Ooh, I almost cried. Ben almost got me, I'm telling you. Oof. Anyway, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. So you guys always send me some great videos. Here's one right here.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Twani Holmes, and I have a question for you. As I maneuver single life post-COVID, I've been hearing a lot about feminine energy, and I wanted to know from a man's perspective, how would you define feminine energy? What attributes would I need to display that would be considered as feminine energy?
Ooh, that's a complicated question. First of all, you're beautiful, just so you know that. I don't know how it relates to your questions. I just thought you might need to know it, just in case somebody ever doubted your beauty along the way. Let me not try to address your question, ironically, because I think I might get in a little trouble, because definitions of femininity and masculinity, they tend to vary and get truncated through all types of filters and intersections and all of that. But I'll give you the Greek word for woman, which is genomehi. And the Greek word genomehi for woman means becoming. And in Greek, a woman is always becoming, emerging, reimagining, evolving, changing, affecting. Everything she puts her hands on, it carries the mark of a new beginning. She is not just giving birth to life, she is constantly bearing life on her shoulders. Not as a burden, but as a badge of honor, as a part of her manifestation and her greatness. That word genomehi in the Greek, to become, it means that she is always the rising and the setting of the sun, that the bearing and the birth of every new day embodies who she is. And I think every woman, every single woman, every girl should live up and should strive anyway to live up to that encomium, to that standard, that you are always becoming. Never, that no one would ever be able to trap you into one season of your life. No one can lock you into one mistake. No one can lock you into one thing that you said, because what you were 10 years ago, you are not today, and what you are today, you will not be 10 years from now, because you are always becoming. It means you are always improving. You are always making progress. You are always not just making other people better, but you are yourself always evolving into something wonderful and beautiful in your own eyes. To me, that is far more interesting than any definitions we may have about feminine energy or femininity or masculine energy or masculinity. Those conversations get bogged down in all of the truncated notions that are happening in our world today. But that notion of genomehi, that the woman is the one who is adding things, who is building things, progressing, moving, that you look at her today and then tomorrow you see her again and there's a whole new manifestation because she bears witness to what is not yet, what is being born. Woo, that's powerful, man. And I hope and pray that that would be your witness and your destiny. I hope and pray that you will know what that is. Anyway, someone emailed me this question. I got to do it really quickly. I recently realized that I only want to be around people who have positive impact on my life. A friend of mine is too negative and I don't want to be around her anymore. I keep making excuses so that I don't have to spend time with her, but she isn't getting it. How can I tell her how I really feel without hurting her feelings? Well, listen, I don't have a lot of time for this. It's not going to take a lot of time. It's going to be easy, all right? You can't be worried about hurting somebody's feelings when you feel like you really need to tell them the truth and the truth that will protect them, all right? What you just need to tell them at the end of the day is that you need a certain energy. And the energy that she's manifesting is not the energy you need in your life. And you have to be willing for her feelings to be hurt. Because sometimes the only way to love you is to hurt your feelings. I'm just saying. It's true. It's true, Steve-O. Sometimes you got to say the hard thing. You'll be all right. Just be honest. The worst thing you could do is lie. Thank you, Ben, for being on the show. And thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you on Friday. I love you.